Okay, hey guys, and welcome to week 36 at theunderwaterrealm.com. You'll notice I didn't start with another exciting week at theunderwaterrealm.com, although I suppose exciting could be a word that you'd use to describe what's happened this week. It's been a bit of a dark one this week, to be honest with you. We've had a number of drawbacks and some pretty huge disasters. The week actually started off really well. We started Monday morning with a couple of boxes arriving from O'Neill wetsuits. O'Neill have actually taken an interest in the project and have sponsored us by sending a great many suits, really wonderful dive suits that they've started developing, as well as more traditional wetsuits. And unboxed all of those. We've got wetsuits for cast and for crew for different weather conditions. Really high quality stuff. And we went on a couple of test dives. Really nice to get back into a wetsuit. We've been used to diving in dry suits, which are much more cumbersome, slightly more uncomfortable, and much less streamlined in the water. So it's been really cool. Big thumbs up to O'Neill there. And so you'll see us in O'Neill suits for more or less the entire rest of the project. So it's been really helpful and saved us a hell of a lot of money. Unfortunately, from that high point early on in the week, everything kind of slid downhill, and started off, a fantastic guy came out from New York. I think we mentioned last week that Clayton Haskell's coming out of New York, Brooklyn, New York, with his Red Epic cinema camera and his Aqua Video Epic housing. Really nice guy, came out, no problems whatsoever, until we took the underwater housing on a test dive locally in Babacom just to get a feel for how it worked underwater. And first things first, water starts coming into the housing. So camera comes out, everything gets checked over, and we're hoping at this stage that it's just one of the O-rings at the front has perhaps got grit in it, or one of the seals on one of the screws is loose. But alas no, we took it again on a deeper dive without the camera in it, just to shine a torch in and see where the water was coming in from, and actually it's a fracture in the actual body of the housing, so completely unrepairable, water just pouring in the side, and obviously it's taken a big old chunk of our budget. Clayton was coming over completely free of charge, but flying somebody out from the States and obviously covering all of those expenses and baggage expenses and all this kind of stuff, to have an underwater housing that can't go underwater is, especially the day before your underwater shoot, is a big old step backwards. So kind of a catastrophe, but we do have a plan B. We have Rich Stevenson's Sony EX1, which we've used on a number of the test shoots. Still a very high quality camera, filming in full HD. Not quite what we wanted with the Epic, but you know, we have a second option. We have a number of actors and obviously a full crew ready to come down and do this shoot. So we push ahead anyway. Only to be hit by tragedy number 2, in the form of the weather. You'll remember from the location scouting we did, we came up with a wonderful location in Plymouth called Bovisand, which was, it's an old military base. Beautiful calm water, beautiful visibility, wonderful terrain under the water. Unfortunately, for 24 hours before the shoot, we got hit with some really nasty weather warnings, a southwesterly wind coming in, which would have been blowing everything straight off the channel, straight into our dive site. We went down there to check out exactly what the story was, and I think the only word you could use to describe Bovisand at that point was a meat grinder, or perhaps a washing machine. What was previously blue and warm and tranquil was now like a thick choppy soup, being smashed into the rocks, tossing everything around, and just the visibility was non-existent. You wouldn't have been able to see your hand in front of your face, aside from the fact that it was immensely dangerous. So unfortunately we had to call off the first of our underwater shoots for the Underwater Realm, so it's quite a big morale hit we took early on that week. No camera, no underwater housing, and no location. But unwilling to just sign the whole week away and sit around feeling sorry for ourselves, we pushed on nonetheless. We took Clay and his Epic to Tintagel and got a couple of pickups on the same camera system that we'd been filming on the previous week, so we managed to tighten the edit up a little bit there by getting back to that original location with Harriet, who's coming down for the underwater shoot anyway. And we then pushed ahead with a test shoot in the New England quarry. We've been there a few times now. Went back in once more to test out all those costumes, those props, get the actors underwater, and rather than waste all that energy that had been building up ready for this shoot, we got them in a quarry, in the water, to test everything through and make sure that any lessons that could be learned before we reschedule the shooting would be lessons worth learning. So we got everybody in the quarry, we had a great dive, we tested, as I say, those costumes, which looked great underwater, props, lights. We got our LED Kinos underwater in full force for the first time, and they performed beautifully, as did the Sony EX1. And so all in all, a great shoot. We actually capped the week off by having, at this stage we have the Epic in the UK filming for us at Tintagel. We have Andy Martin's Epic, the one we originally used for Tintagel, actually flying out of Dover along with Shaz in a helicopter, filming a genuine World War II Spitfire on a project that was partly for ourselves and partly for the Spitfire Society, doing a little favour for them. So we also then had a third Epic from Tom Hamilton, who'd come out from the States and gone direct to Egypt before we managed to get out there to the Red Sea. So on one day we actually had 3 Red Epic cameras filming underwater in Egypt, filming out of a helicopter and a Spitfire in the UK, and then Tintagel filming our beautiful 1208 pickups. So it was actually towards the end of the week, although it had been a massive disaster, actually ended on quite a high note. We've got some wonderful, wonderful footage of this original Mark 5B Spitfire flying around the White Cliffs of Dover. Some great footage being picked up there from Tom in the Red Sea, and of course our pickup shoots in Tintagel. So after all that, not such a bad week after all. I don't know how you could complain about a week when you get to film a genuine Spitfire anyway, so not such a bad thing, but now we've just got to kind of save up those last bits of energy and get out to Egypt, where we now have 1 Red Epic and another Aqua Video housing, so we just got to hope that everything there works. It's going to be a big week, so we will catch you next week for week 37, which will be coming to you from sunny Egypt, southern Egypt and the Red Sea. Very much looking forward to it. Just got to push on through, and we will catch you then at theunderwaterrealm.com.